Hi everyone, Christina here. Welcome to another Letter Tuesday video here at my blog and YouTube channel. Starting out with some watercolor paper. This is 90-pound watercolor paper from Canson, and I'm using this watercolor paper in particular because I'm going to be creating an envelope, so I don't want it to be too thick. So I'm using this punch board from We Are Memory Keepers, and for an envelope to be an A2 sized envelope, so an A2 sized card would fit inside, it needs to be cut at 1 1/4 square. So I've cut the watercolor paper and I've placed it in my punch board, and I've lined up that left edge at the 3 5/8 mark. And then using I think they've labeled it A, the score line over on the right. I'm using the scoring tool that they've included in the board. I'm just scoring that and then rotating, and I line up that scored line with the little, I don't know what it's called, the little nub that's coming out of the punch area. You can also just line it up to about 4 5/8 as well, if that's easier. And I'm using score line A once again, and I'll score that up. And I've also punched that side as well. So I'm going to repeat this process twice more. And I'm working on the opposite edge from where I started, so I can line that up at 3 5/8 once again, punch, and then score on the score line A. I'll rotate it back over to where that score line lines up with that point on the punch. I'll punch that and then score the very last line on line A. So after I've scored all 4 lines, I've basically created my envelope, but there are some additional things you can do to finish off the envelope. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the punch board just 90 degrees, and I'm going to use the punch in that, well, now it's the top right corner, and that's the rounder. And this is labeled on the punch board if you ever forget exactly where that rounder is, but I'm just punching all 4 corners. This is going to give my envelope a little bit more of a finished look, and you definitely don't have to do that part, but I kind of like the rounded corner. So now I have my basic envelope shape. I'm going to fold down the sides just so I can see where the envelope edges are a little bit better. And now I'm going to place the postage stamps. I haven't adhered them or stuck them down or anything. I'm just placing them on the envelope so I get an idea of the space that I'm working with, because I have done numerous envelopes where I address the person's name and then I can't fit a postage stamp on the envelope, and I have to start over. So I just penciled out that area. I'm using my Mission Gold watercolors today from Magello, and I'm actually going to be putting the card that I posted yesterday in this envelope. So I'm using the same colors that I used on the card so it will match. And I'm making pools of color on my palette just so that as I start lettering the recipient's address, that I can move a little bit more quickly. When I'm watercoloring lettering like this and I'm switching between colors, and I'm using a watercolor palette where the paints are not already liquid, I like to make sure that I have a nice pool of color to pull from before I start. So if I was going to be doing this with liquid watercolors, I would just put some of the liquid watercolor out into a palette so that I could pick up from the palette. It's a similar idea. I just want to make sure that I have enough of each color so that I can move between the colors seamlessly and quickly. The brush I'm using today is actually, I think it's sold by Faber-Castell, and this is their deluxe water brush. There are a couple other brands that sell brushes that are similar to this. I'll link to some down below if you want to try them out. I really like water brushes from, let's see, Pentel, and Prima has a few that are really nice. This one from Faber-Castell. Even I think it's the Koi water brush, or the Sakura Koi water brush that comes, you can buy it separate or you can get it in with a watercolor palette. I like that one as well. Really, it's just about finding a water brush that you prefer and then using that. I tend to kind of test out the water brush before I start using it, because some water brushes just have a little bit more bounce to them. Some have a bigger tip, so it's better for larger areas. This one seemed to be about kind of like a medium size. So I was able to get the large letters in Heidi really big, but then also it comes to a nice point. So I was able to letter the smaller Crowell and also these capital letters for the street address. So I've done this address on my YouTube channel in the past, and just to reiterate in case any of you were concerned, this is my friend Heidi's business address. This is the street address for Simon Says Stamp. So this is a business address. It's not a private home or anything like that. So I feel okay sharing the address on the internet. So there's no concern over privacy for this. This is an address where I send Heidi a lot of the cards I send her, just because it's at her office, and she has a great display area in her office, or kind of all over her office, where she likes to show cards that have been sent to her. So I like to send them to her at the office because well, I would assume she's probably going to save whatever card I send her, but who knows? You never know. Anyway, so I'm addressing Columbus, Ohio at the bottom, and I'm getting really close to that bottom fold. So I was really concerned about how I was going to fit that zip code in, especially because you guys might have noticed if you were in the United States and receive mail often, the post office likes to put either like a barcode, they print it at the bottom of the envelope, or they can put a sticker and then have the barcode on the sticker. And this area where I'm putting the zip code is exactly where that barcode is probably going to end up. So I'm really hoping that they use a sticker, because then you can just peel off the sticker and it preserves the lettering underneath. But if I was to redo this envelope, I would naturally kind of slide everything up. I would start the lettering a little bit higher. Now right there, what just happened was I started to write a 0 and I messed up. It was supposed to be a 2. So I quickly dabbed that up with a paper towel, and then I was able to paint over it with the number 2. And it worked out pretty well. It's not so noticeable that I would redo the entire envelope. So this is basically done, but I just wanted to make the spacing look a little bit more intentional. So now I'm adding some horizontal lines above and below the street address, and then I'm also going to add a line over on the left side coming out from the zip code. And this is just going to give it a little bit more finished look and make the spacing look a little bit more intentional. I didn't plan this out. This is just totally just flying on the seat of my pants. I had no preconceived design in my head for this, so that's somewhat why the lettering was kind of squished at the bottom, but I do like how it turned out. So now I'm assembling the envelope, and I've used some tape adhesive along that bottom flap. You want to make sure you don't go all the way to the tip of that flap, because it's going to be exposed to the inside of the envelope, and you don't want to like glue your card to the inside of your envelope. So as I fold it up, you can kind of see that there's a space right above, like right at the tip. So the envelope's pretty much made now, so I'm going to grab the card that's supposed to go in it. You can see how well those colors match up. So this is the card from yesterday. I'll have a link in the top corner if you want to see how that card was made. And then I wrote my message, put the card inside, and then sealed up the envelope. So now I'm going to place those postage stamps on the envelope, and they fit right across the top perfectly. And I like that these are really bright and colorful and sort of match the watercolor look of the address as well. So that is just a really fun, simple, but colorful envelope for today's Letter Tuesday. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll be back tomorrow with another card video. Thanks so much for watching.